showered after.
Your hair looks really good. I see your deodorant in your armpit.
It's there. Look at those two little balls. Let me just rub this in.
She's clean. That's how we know.
Also, look what fucking happened to me.
What happened?
The dogs, Shaq and Sage, my dad's freaking humongo Dobermans, were tied up to their long, like, rope leashes, and were so excited to see me that they, like, encircled me and then, like, ran in opposite directions.
Just rope burn?
And so, like, yeah, super
Dang,
bad.
that looks bad.
Yeah, it really hurts. I try to, like, soak it in the water. Doesn't feel as bad as it did, but...
Wow.
Anyway.
Anyway, that's Ellie's physical appearance today.
Yeah. Happy
Welcome
Wednesday,
back.
Everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Polite as Fuck. It's been weird this past weekend. The weather, I don't know what it was like. I went camping up in San Clemente, and it was super overcast, and I feel like compared to last year when I went camping for Labor Day, when it was like sunny, and I was like, oh man.
I know, it was like, it literally was September 1st overcast. It was like, fall is here. And I'm like, no, this is supposed to be the best month. So can you just chill for like 1 second?
I'm like, yes.
The amount of Halloween, people are decorating so early. It's crazy to me.
Maybe
Halloween decorations in August. That's crazy. That's worse than people singing Christmas songs before
What?
Thanksgiving.
No.
Yeah.
No.
When it is over 80 degrees and you have Halloween decorations out,
I love Halloween, and that can last forever. Christmas, on the other hand, yeah, you should not be singing any sort of Christmas songs until December 1st. Maybe after Thanksgiving.
I kind of enjoy them more throughout the year.
What? Shut the fuck up.
Your face.
I really did not understand what you said for this.
No,
she did not just say
that's
that.
what I said, but I was being funny.
Oh, God.
I was trying to be like you about Halloween.
Well. Anyways.
Speaking of weird things that I've seen, I really want to talk about this.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to hear where this is about to go.
I texted Ellie and said, remind me to tell you about the fainting videos. Because I don't know my algorithm, why I'm on these videos now. That people, I'm like, is this real or why is this a thing? People in the gym, like, set up their cameras or whatever, and it's like, watch me about to faint on the Stairmaster. And it's like doing the play-by-play, and maybe it's in my algorithm because I watched the whole thing, and it's like, you see that my, like, legs start to slow down, and then I'm, like, gradually getting off the Stairmaster. I need to find, like, a soft place to lay down. I know that it's coming, and then they, like...
And then they die.
And then it's like,
I wish
I'm
you
so
had your tongue out. Yeah.
But, like, I'm not trying to laugh if that's real. But I'm also like, why are there multiple people who have coincidentally set up their cameras to capture this multiple times?
Do they have, like, a problem? Like a
they must
problem?
I'm like, is this to, like, raise awareness when you see people lying on the floor in the gym? I've never seen that before, but I don't know.
Oh my God. That's so random.
It's so weird, and it just got me thinking about, like, first of all, why am I watching this? That's when I'm like, I need to get off my phone. And then second of all, I'm like, people post the weirdest, like, 10 years ago that thought would have never been in my mind. No. Of, like, how do you know that someone's about to faint in the gym? Or, like, this is what I've seen someone pass out in the gym on their TikTok. Like,
having their camera because they're, like, those gym people? Or is it they're, like, that's the whole intent, is them posting the fainting?
I don't know. And I don't look into it enough to see if they're a gym
I wouldn't
profile.
either, but, like, isn't that so weird?
But that's what makes me think, I'm like, is this just, like, for attention?
And also, like, I mean, I guess I literally was about to be like, who's watching that?
Me! I am. But I also watch those, like, satisfying videos of, like, pouring sand in a jar or, like...
I can pretty truthfully say I've never seen a video of someone pouring in a jar.
This is the content
Like
where
through
I'm
a funnel?
like... Did you ever watch those as kids? There's one video we used to check out from the library where they would... This is like the library videos I used to watch for adults now. Because there was one where they had like a sand garden and they had like a tiny little rake and they would make little paths with it and put like stones.
Oh.
Did you ever watch this?
No, and I definitely did not rent them from the fucking library. Oh my god, that's where you guys went, like, after church or something.
No, we couldn't do that on Sundays, at least.
That's right, and I think the libraries are closed on Sundays
Yeah. That's what
probably
we went
because
to
they're all
before.
Mormon. No, I'm trying to think of, like, my...
Like, what are weird videos that you see that you're like, why is this on the internet and why am I watching this?
You know what? The, like, roofing videos, like...
Like, people putting roofs on houses?
With, like, the tar, and they, like, slap the tar on and, like, rub it around.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is...
I don't know.
That is, like, productive, though. You could probably roof a house now.
Yeah, I guess. But I'm like, yeah, I'm a roofer.
She's a roofer.
Yeah, I guess I have like, that's the only one that comes to mind.
No, I do watch lawn mowing videos, too.
Yeah, that's pretty satisfying. That's like the sand, the rake in the sand.
Yeah, it's like the grass getting all trimmed.
Satisfying stuff like that, yeah. I don't know about people fainting. I love watching people get scared, though. Like, people, like, jump scares and stuff like that.
Did you like America's Funniest Home Videos? Were you
Yeah.
that? Those I never laughed at. Very rarely. Because half of them are just jump scares.
That was so funny.
I never think that's funny. Or people getting hurt, and I don't think that's funny.
No, I don't like the hurt ones, but I do like when, like, animals get scared or something. Oh, man, those are so good. I love them so much.
That's dumb.
So dumb. Intermission. We will have that tomorrow. Oh my god. Actual timeout.
I'm throwing up.
Oh my god.
That was insane.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
The spit take.
Spit take. Okay.
That was my turn to drink
Now
water.
you can drink. I'm done. Whew. This has been the wildest 10 minutes of my life.
Wait, real quick, do we want to talk about our party, or should we just jump right into it and
Oh
save
yeah,
it for
another random life update.
I love it.
Go ahead.
Erica has been dying to throw a party, and ever since she got the idea of bringing Hot August Nights, which is like the car show in Reno, I think we talked about this before.
Yeah.
I was like, we have to do it. So it happened, and it was a smash, as I like to say. No, honestly, it went really well. I was like, sometimes when I have people over, I don't really think about it. Are you laughing at the dog?
Sorry, keep going.
That. Okay.
There's a lot. I'm just really stimulated.
Stop chewing your foot. I think sometimes, like, when we invite people over, I'm just like, oh, it's like, a hangout. It's not a, like, big thing or whatever. And then I think seeing, like, the decorations and then the bar sign that we had and then just hearing how many people are coming, I was like, oh, I'm getting excited. But it was such a fun night. Like,
temporary tattoos for adults are a hit, are a smash, if you will.
A smash. No, and I think it was the perfect, like, way to send off summer. Because, Labor Day, and I was like, September, it's not really over, but it was nice to have people over and go out and have people in our space. The dogs had a blast. I loved getting dressed up. A party with theme. We'll do an episode on it, but, like,
yeah,
hosting and, like, having things like the temporary tattoos and like having drinks and space for drinks and all of that stuff, like there's a lot of thought that goes into it. And even like when you have a small space like we do, a little effort goes a long way.
It really does. Like just rearranging a few things to make it so that there is more space. And like honestly, we didn't spend like that much money. I mean, we have so much alcohol left over. It's actually crazy. But I feel like the few little touches just made it so fun. Yeah. And I do agree, like having a theme for a party, even if not everyone dresses up, it's just like a fun excuse. Yeah. Like people were like asking what we were going to wear and like planning outfits. And I feel like it's fun to just have a reason to like try a little bit. Yeah. And then bar hopping around. We really maximized our apartment. Yeah. It was at full capacity.
Oh, yeah. Like, at one point I was like, it is like jam packed in here. Like, but I feel like everybody had a good time. I like our designated speaker telling everybody to get the fuck out of here. That was awesome.
I was like, I don't have a loud enough voice. I feel like when I need to yell sometimes, my voice gets like higher in pitch, but not in like sound, like volume. Yeah. So then it's just like this really high shrill, and it's not pleasant.
I can't relate. I feel like I can yell.
I think you can too.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I need to fucking stop saying yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I don't know. The last episode, I was like, the amount of times I said, yeah, I don't know.
I know.
I want it to just...
Annoying. Yes, it was fun. Can't recommend throwing party enough, and I'm glad we did it. It makes me just want to throw more, but it's like nice now to have like a reason. Like I can't wait to figure out like what our next... Like,
it also is great for cleaning the house.
Oh, yeah. I bet. It looks great in here. Thanks for cleaning up.
Well, yeah. Thanks for cleaning beforehand. I feel like it, like, helped us. Like, when's the last time I dusted the TV stand? Couldn't tell you. I've been wanting to move the basket of blankets. I was like, now we have to. Yeah. Because people are coming over. Yeah. Instead of me shoving the Roomba in the corner, like, let's just make it work. Yeah. All around. Great. Good moves. Yeah. But none of these things are what we want to talk about today.
No, just like little sprinkle of life updates in there for you. No, we want to talk about something hot today. It's time for we're diving into something spicy. I have been thinking about this a lot, but I wanted to talk a little bit about just like libido first, and then overall just the libido versus like men versus women a little bit, especially in heterosexual sexual relationships, and maybe how that's changed over the years, and a few of our like experiences and how to touch on a few of those things. So just based on like my experience and like my life, libido is like such a weird word, but just for the sake of this conversation, that's just what I'm going to say because it's like all scientific or whatever. But I feel like I've been pretty like normal, or I don't want to say normal, like average on like my like wanting to have sex. Like I felt like when I was younger and I first lost my virginity, it was, as is every teenager, it wasn't like something I was like yearning for. It was more so of like the connection and like more of like the, oh, we get to like kiss and touch and hang out. And then I feel like in college was probably as average as anybody else, minus you, of course.
Thanks.
But I was like, I felt a little bit more like ready to like try a bunch of different stuff, and I think that I was totally okay with that, and I feel like it's stayed pretty much the same throughout. I feel like most of the time it was because I was in a relationship, so I felt like because I was so close to someone, I always wanted to. I will have to say there was a brief time when I was in college that I was on depressants, or however the fuck you say that, and I feel like that really fucked me up. But other than that, like 2 years, it's been pretty normal. I think the most recent change, and this is what makes me want to talk about this a little bit more, is getting off birth control and how that's been. And to see if like you've experienced the same, because I feel like such a peak of like in my libido since coming off birth control. Do you agree with agree with that statement? This is what happens when I try to be serious. I just want to like fucking talk and have a professional, polite as fuck conversation.
Agree.
And instead, I put on accents and say, yeah, I don't know, libido.
Okay, do I agree with your statement that getting off birth control, my sex drive has increased?
Yeah.
Yes, I would say it has reached the highest it's ever been. It's crazy. I am like just TMI horny all the time. And like random things will like make me that way. Like it's not like, oh, I'm making out, so now I'm turned on. It's like, no, like
you just open the car doors, and now I'm like, oh, let's go back upstairs.
The breeze sends a chill down my spine, and I'm like, whoa, I want to have sex. It's so crazy to me, because I've never felt this way before. Did you have another thing you wanted to say?
No.
I do think, since you gave your history of your sex drive, like, I also am the most free in my sexuality than I ever have been, just because I don't feel shame around it anymore. I don't feel like who you're with in a relationship plays a big role, or like also just your confidence in yourself in general. Because I will say, like, before I was dating someone, like I still felt this way coming off birth control, and I feel like it was just more of like my confidence in myself.
Oh, that's such a good way to put that. Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Well, yeah, that was just...
I also think like this like societal pressure, it's now become like something that I want to do rather than like what I'm supposed to do. Because I feel like even now thinking about it in college, like, yeah, I loved exploring and putting myself out there and meeting new people and having fun and kind of like living very carefree. But I think that there was always this like, this is what you do during this time, and I'm not dating anybody, so why not? And then when I did start to date someone, that's like, I try to continue with that behavior. And then now I feel that way, but I feel that way because I want to feel that way, and not that like, I'm like, oh, college, be crazy. I'm like, nah, I'm just crazy all by myself. All by myself.
I was listening to a podcast. It was like a 15-minute podcast before we did this. From the Doctor's Pharmacy.
Okay.
Interesting. Never heard of it. I just literally looked up sex drive on Spotify.
Love that.
And this episode is how sex drive is influenced by hormones, diet, and lifestyle.
Oh, can't wait.
It was really interesting because I feel like both you and I have been on our like health grind. We like trained for the race, the run together.
Yeah.
Like I feel like eat pretty healthy. We have a lifestyle that involves like being outside and taking care of ourselves and like having fun. And this is talking about how like a high sugar, like highly refined foods diet over time really impacts sex drive negatively. Like you have less libido when you have so much like processed food in your system. And I feel like we eat pretty healthy. And it also talks about working out, how that increases your libido, like regular exercise. He was saying how stress, which is like, these things seem obvious, but it was just like a good reminder of like, when you're really stressed, your libido is probably pretty low because you're not like in tune with your body as much. You're like, stress is coming from your head, and that's like what's driving like your body and how you're feeling. And also alcohol. When you like are drinking a lot, it like increases your want for someone but decreases your ability to like perform. But I just
am taking note of all of these things. No,
those were just like a few call outs, and then he was talking about hormones specifically. So I think us being off birth control, like it makes sense because our body is finally like regulating the hormones naturally that we need.
Yeah. I think too, like when I was looking at this too, because I was like, my main thing that I wanted to figure out is like, why am I hot and bothered all the fucking time? And now a lot of the guys that I see, not a lot, okay, how do I put this without making it seem like super weird? Maybe a lot of the guys that I've been talking to, and more frequently a lot of the guys, okay, this just makes me sound like so.
You're not a hoe.
Thank you. it's just been very, like, evident in my life that I am way hornier than some of the people that I'm with. And I just am like...
Why is that?
Why is that? And then...
Because I feel like it's the tale as old as time that men are always horny and men always want to have sex and, like...
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's definitely been, like, some cases where, you know, like, in the past, like, in relationships where, like, he's really wanted to and I've been like, no, like, I'm tired. Like, I don't want to. I definitely understand that. So I was like, is it... Like, do you get it to a certain age, and is it, like, your testosterone really starts to decline? Like, is that really the only thing that it is? And, of course, like, reading, it was a lot of the same things, like, like, lifestyle and stress and things like that. And it's like, I get that, but I also just kind of feel like it's worth mentioning, kind of piggybacking off of our, like, Peter Pan syndrome episode of, like, are there maybe some more, like, societal things that are happening that's maybe like influencing this? Like, I do think diet, like, obviously, yes, diet and exercise, and I could not agree more that I feel like I've been on this like grind to take care of myself. It would only like make sense for my like mental health to start matching that, as well as like my sexual health, like to finally be, not finally, but like to be expressive in a healthy way, to feel like safe and secure, and then also to feel like so secure in myself that I fucking want to bang all the time, you know? And so I'm like, are there other things that maybe have like an influence on that maybe not even necessarily pertain to men on both ends that are worth like mentioning? And I think like one of the first things I want to talk about is porn. And like, I know that we did an episode on porn, so if you guys haven't gone and watched that, I highly recommend doing that.
Yeah.
But I just think that has played such a part because of how, like, everything is pornography now. Like, it's everywhere. And are we now, God, excuse me, like, seeing the repercussions or the, like, whatever that may be of sex being everywhere all the time for guys? Like, I think that, you know, if you think of, like, a 15-year-old, like, kid, they were like so fucking horny, and now it's like, I don't know.
I do think that. I feel like porn plays a huge piece into it. I also think like porn plays a piece of it in that a guy might be horny, or like, is there a better word? A guy's
really,
sex drive might be higher, and then he watches porn and jerks off and then is doing that, and then by the time like a real person is around, he's like, well, I've already, like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I've already done it 6 times today or whatever, you know? It's like that easy access. There's no, like, build up.
Yeah.
Like, tension or, like... And I feel like with women especially, most women, like, the foreplay starts before the actual, like, physical foreplay.
Oh, yeah. Well before.
So it's, like, that, like, build up, or, like, the, like, flirting before you guys go back home, and the, like, playing around, and, like, that all is foreplay in my mind.
Yes.
And like what leads it to be like, oh my gosh, like I want you right now. Whereas I feel like sometimes with men, from my experience, it's like, oh, I'm turned on and let me take care of that right now.
Yeah.
Type thing. You know?
That's very true. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
I also just think too, like, not even the porn piece, like, adding on to that of the, you know, like, I can always have better, I can always get better. Like, are men a little bit more in their head about things now? And, like, and then now women just feel like maybe they have a little bit more courage to, like, take control in the bedroom. I don't know. I just was kind of, like, thinking of all of these things that may be, like, playing a part of that, because I think it's, like, of course, I went on Reddit, as one does before an episode, and just, like, seeing all these comments of, like, yeah, guys, like, experiencing a lot, like, when they turn 30 and all of these things, and I'm like, it seems to be a conversation that's happening. And then I was talking to my sister, and she was talking about how, like, one of the guys that she's talking to, that him and his friends at work were talking about it, and I'm just like, what? There's more than, like, I mean, not all of you guys are eating refined foods and not going to the gym. Like, is there more to that maybe, like, is worth, like, a conversation? And I just think it's interesting because I am, like, frustrated, literally, but also because I'm like, I am now ready to, like, explore and be I don't know, it just feels like, why is it flopping now that like women's peak, even something that I was reading, and like it's funny because my mom has always been like very open about having these kinds of conversations with me, and I always, not always, it didn't happen, I was young, but like I remember her telling me that like a woman's sexual like peak is not like peaked, if you even want to call it that. I don't really like saying that there's a peak, but it's like when she's older, like 30s, 40s, and then the guy is when it's like they're, you know, younger 20s. And I'm like, that's so fucked up.
I know.
Why can't they line up?
It really is. It really is. But isn't that why? I mean, I don't know why that they made what's the pill that men take? Viagra. Is it that they just like can't get erect, or that they genuinely have no like sex drive and it's to help with both?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I wonder,
because if women are so horned up, it's like they need something. Obviously, like they can use other things than an actual penis, but like.
But is it the same for guys that like they don't, I don't know. Like if my mind isn't there, it's like evident to my body that I'm like I'm not there. Mm-hmm. But like guys, I feel like they can be hard, but like they're not like there.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they don't want to have sex.
Yeah.
Their body's just like reacting to something.
To something, yeah.
That's true. Yeah. It's so interesting thinking about my past relationships too, because it's like stress being a big thing, or like alcohol, all of these things. I'm like, okay, you would think that, I'm just putting him on blast in a way, like his sex drive would have been lower, my ex. Mm-hmm. But, like, that was the only thing that we shared, really, that was good, was sex. Mm-hmm. Like, everything else was just, like, not great. So it's, like, that clearly wasn't impacting you as much as, like, they say, because you were still, like, ready to go all the time.
I mean, I guess it is, like, it is different for different people, and that's kind of, like, something that I was thinking about, too, when thinking about this topic, is, like, thinking about my past relationships, is not a lot of them have I felt super like sexually comfortable with. Like some of it very like performative, or just like doing it like the way that you're supposed to do it, and like not being even in a secure, like, I mean, regardless of him and who he was, like the traveling, the new places, like things like that, those like definitely took a toll. And so now that I feel a little bit like safer, I guess, is like that's gotta like play a part. And then I also think just like sexual chemistry, like any two people that you find attractive can have some sort of like sexual chemistry, but you may not be able to speak like the same like sex love language, you know? It's so frustrating.
I know.
And I like, this is so immature of me, and I know that it's not right, and I do know that, and I don't want to put that out there or make other people feel like that in any way, shape, or form, but I always take it to heart. Like, I take it so personally when people don't want to sleep with me.
No, I do too.
Like, if we're in a relationship and you're, like, not into it, I'm like, it hurts. I'm like, why?
Like, what am I doing wrong? Why are you not attracted to me?
Yeah, like, why is that? Where does that fucking stem from?
Well, because I feel like when you're turned on by them and, like, wanting to be with them, and then they're not, it's like, is this feeling not reciprocated?
Right.
I also think it depends how they, like, go about telling you that.
Yeah. I also think, too, that we've been so socially freaking processed into thinking that men show their love by, like, physical, and so when that's not happening, like, we're automatically like,
what's wrong with
what's
me?
wrong?
Yeah. When I just Googled, like, literally my search was sex drive men versus women, and the AI overview. I do love the AI overviews on Google.
I know, me too.
I'm like, thank you for just summarizing literally all I wanted to know. And it was like, men typically have a higher sex drive than women. However, sex drive varies widely. Obviously, we know that. About 3/4 of men have a stronger sex drive than the average woman, while about 1/3 of women have a stronger sex drive than the average man. But what I thought was really interesting in this is, like, Some researchers believe that men over-report sex experiences while women under-report their sexual experiences. Because it's like, where are we getting these stats from? Well, clearly people saying, this is how often I have sex, or this is when I feel like I want to have sex. And men could be saying, like, oh yeah, I want to have sex all the time. And women are like, I actually only have sex like 3 times a week, when that might not be real.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's, like, the way that, like, we've just been trained, or society forever is, like, men are more horny. So if a man's reporting his, like, sex drive or whatever, he makes it higher than it actually is.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because I'm like, maybe this is, like, maybe it's wrong.
Yeah. Maybe they're liars.
Maybe they're liars. Surprise.
Surprise. Fucking surprise. Everybody. They're lying about fucking. Clearly, we're reporting to you live here.
We're reporting to you live that we are the third of women that have a stronger sex drive. But it's like, it also says it's a hypothetical construct that includes attitudes, desires, and behaviors towards sex. It's driven by factors like biology, age, medication, and situation. For example, sexual attitudes are affected by societal and religious attitudes.
I think I also, like, think a lot about, like, hookup culture and how, like, strong it is right now.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up.
Because, that plays a part in mine. I think sometimes I think that maybe I am, like, super hot and bothered, but I also haven't really been in a, like, very serious relationship since my ex, which was a few years now. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really had that opportunity to research myself on how that's like, and like seeing someone even exclusively for like a little over like a few weeks or months. Like I haven't really had that because of this, like, because that's what I wanted. Yeah. But in order to really like make a huge like standpoint of like men aren't horny in these situations, I guess I can't really like say anything, because it really has only been kind of this hookup culture and something that I don't even like to be a part of anymore, because I think it's just not, it just is not what sex is supposed to be for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm so over it. Like I had my fun, and like, don't get me wrong, hookups can be so much fun, but I think it's gotten to a point where I don't know. I don't really know how to describe that, but as far as like sex, it's kind of just been like a turnoff, or it seems it's like one and done, and then like both parties aren't really happy, mm-hmm. and then it kind of is now this cycle of not really great like sex habits, and then that's probably pertaining to everybody's libido too, because they're like, nah, if that's what sex is, I don't know if I want it. Yeah, like, I can agree there.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think too when it's like a hookup culture, at least for me, what's going through my mind is like, am I going to get an STD? Am I going to get pregnant? Like, there's all these, like, fear things in my... that I'm thinking about. It's like, yeah, I'm, like, turned on, or, like, I feel like I want to hook up, but I'm also in my head about it way more. Mm-hmm. Because I'm like, I don't really know this person.
Right.
And I do think with hookup culture, like, when you're out at a club and someone's, like, clearly, like, into you and you're vibing or whatever, and it's like, okay, do you want to come back to my place? It feels like an expectation, which I feel like I've had to rewire my brain for that not to be the case, because it's like, yeah, I'm, like, turned on and I want to, like, make out, but I'm not comfortable enough to, like, have sex with you. Mm-hmm. But then I end up having sex with someone that I'm not comfortable doing that with. I'm thinking of all the things that can go wrong because of this decision that I'm making. And then it's a horrible sex experience, or I'm like, just, you know, they're like, oh, did you finish? You're like, yeah, totally. And it's like, and then it's like, for what? Mm-hmm. Like, why did I do that? And then I feel, for me, it's like my confidence is shaken. I feel like bad about myself. I feel like stressed because now I need to go to the doctor. And it's like, why did I do that? That was like not worth it to me.
Yeah.
And I do think that not having someone that you're seeing somewhat regularly, whether that's like a situationship or whatever it is, makes it hard to like have an enjoyable experience.
Mm-hmm. And like it enough to learn, like, not everybody you meet you're gonna get married or have, like, a forever relationship with, but it also, like, stops you from having this connection in order to, like, learn and take something away from that, whatever type of situation, relationship, and to, like, figuring out what it is you like and what you don't like in order to move forward in life. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I was pretty stagnant in that, and I feel like pretty recent. I mean, it's all learning, every opportunity you have, but I could not agree more with what you said. I'm in the same boat of just, like, being put in these kind of situations and thinking that that's the thing to do.
Yeah.
And then now having to retrain my brain into thinking, like, okay, no, I do want to do this, or I don't want to do this, and this is what I like, this is what I don't like.
Mm-hmm. I think having control in your sexual experiences makes your sex drive increase.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are having it when you want to have it, and you're having it in the ways that you want to have it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know that you can satisfy yourself, so you don't necessarily have to, like, have another person to do that. So when you do decide to have sex with another person, it's like because you really want to.
Right. I wonder how, like, hookup culture is, like, on the guy end of thing, like, how that has influenced, because I'm just thinking, like, it fits, but not really now based on what we're saying. Like, hookup culture to me, I'm like, oh, it's every guy's dream because they're always fucking horny and they always want to have sex. But now I'm like, well, that clearly, as we're talking, we're saying that that's not really the norm now. Like,
yeah.
How is it for them? Like, are they feeling pressured? Is it basically the same sort of conversation? And now, like, fucking the sex communication on both ends is, like, totally fucked up. We fucked all of ourselves and not in the good way.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think, I remember listening to a podcast a while ago. They don't even make it anymore, but they had an episode where they were talking with, like, a sex therapist about libido. And, like, some people have sex once a week, and that's, like, all they need. Some people have sex, like, every day, and that's what they want. And some people have sex, like, every month, or not even that often, and it's like, then they're fine. And I do think that it, like, it does ebb and flow all the time, because I was not having sex for, like, a year. Maybe? No, less than a year.
No, less than a year.
Less than a year. But, like, I didn't feel like I needed it. But now that I'm having it, I want it all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, like, that is another thing, too, of, like, if a guy is having, maybe the opposite. If a guy is, like, hooking up with someone all the time, it, like, doesn't, like, turn him on as much anymore.
Yeah. Or I think, too, it just kind of goes back to what I was saying, is it the sex communication, like, sex language? Like, for me, I really have to be in the moment, and maybe for me, my language is, like, I don't necessarily need to have, like, penetrative sex, but, like, I want to, like, cuddle and, like, have, like, a nice makeout session, like, every day, but then, like, have, like, penetrative sex, like, once a week or something like that. And so maybe for a guy is, like we were just saying, a guy can be hard and, like, have sex, but maybe that's not how he, like, communicates. So for him, he only really needs it, or whatever. Maybe we're just, like, maybe I'm not finding, like, the people that speak that same language. Because sex can mean, like we just said, sex could mean, like, different things for different people, and or maybe intimacy means different things for different people. So maybe, like, itched and hot and bothered and horny, yes, we must come together as a people to change that word. The horny cannot be our word. Like, just got it. And libido? Come on.
It
sounds like a libido. Like,
like a little spell.
Yeah. Like, this is not okay. But, like, is it just, now I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I hope you know where I was going with it.
I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember.
Libido.
Libido was the last thing. It's just actually replaying over and over and over in my mind right now. Just like that, we're not speaking the same, like, sex language, and, like, some people need different things like get off, and like guys can, you know, when they're younger, get hard for anything, but necessarily aren't really getting off in the way that maybe is like most hot to them. I don't know.
I do think your like preferences change too. This is like a side tangent, but I'm just thinking about like long-term partnerships, because it's like I love missionary position.
I love the missionaries. Love when they come by.
Thank goodness that's never happened.
Thank God.
But I'm thinking about, like, in 20 years, will I still feel that way? Will that still be my preferred, like, position of, like, you can always go into missionary and I'll always, like, have a great time?
Yeah.
Or is it, like, I need something else? Like, why do open relationships exist? Why do sex, like, resorts exist? Like, why do these things all exist? Is it
the change of pace, I guess? Yeah, to switch it up. The preferences, I guess.
the preferences change, or is it like, I mean, I've never been in an open relationship, but I would be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah.
And like what that would look like. And like I went on a date with someone who was in an open relationship, and I was like, nah. This isn't for me.
Yeah.
But like, how do people decide that that's what they like?
Or is it like tolerance? Like, it's like once you have a lot of something of the same thing a lot, like, do you need another dose of something, like get harder?
Yeah,
kind of like what we were talking about in our porn episode of like, once you start with like your whatever level 1, do you move to level 2, and that's the open? Like, I don't think that's what it is, and I'm not saying that people in open relationships view it like that, but as far as like maybe like, you know, strip clubs and things like that or whatever, like, is it like that? Maybe, I don't know. And you just like build up, or the same person. Maybe is that why people? That's a common theory on why people cheat.
Because of the same person.
Yeah, like switch it up, bring a little bit more like spice, I guess.
I'm not trying to take us down these paths, but it just has me thinking what you just said of like people cheat. A common reason is because of like needing to switch it up. But I'm like, does that actually, like, once you do it, and maybe this is my like prejudice or whatever of like, I don't even know if I use that word right. Like,
well, I haven't been saying anything right, so libido.
Like, I feel like it's the idea, and then they do it, and then they're like, wait, and now they just fucked up their relationship and everything, and it's more of like this, like, oh, the secrecy, the sneaking around, like the thrill of it all. That's what makes it fun until it's not a secret anymore, and then their life explodes, and then they're like, that wasn't worth it.
I think it just like scratches an itch, like it just like releases similar like endorphins or some sort of like chemical in your brain that sex also brings, or wherever, like your libido, you know what I mean? Like the overall feeling of like.
But like, could you get that if you communicated what you needed with your partner?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's definitely, I think, people to people.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't really have anything else to add to that other than like, I mean, we hit on everything that I wanted to talk about. It's not really, I don't have any answers. It's just something that I've noticed and that I'm taking note on, and maybe you guys have experienced some of the same things in your relationships, or have talked about it like with your partners or friends or boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. I just think it's interesting. Mm-hmm. And I mean, always want to promote like good sexual health and positive like experiences, and I feel like now that we're both like, I don't know, in spaces in our life, like whether single or in a relationship, we've grown like so much, and so I'm like, wow, maybe this just means like hot and bothered means I'm like safe and happy. That's great. Great news for me.
I do think that plays a big part.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting to like think of like, you know, the situations that I've been in, or like, you know, obviously single, and like meeting people and putting myself out there, and like different types of men that I'm meeting always make me want to talk about it on the podcast. Like I always have something to say. So I'm like, I have notes on this one. What am I bringing to the table this week? It's libido.
It's libido. I do think, I mean, we know it varies. There is no, like, right or wrong thing when it comes to sex drive. But I will say it's hard when you're not matching up with someone that you're seeing to, like, to feel frustrated because you're like, I'm not frustrated with you necessarily as, like, a human, but I'm more frustrated that we're not in sync because this is something that I want, and you clearly don't want that, and why not?
Yeah. I mean, even in, like, the best of, like, relationships, even, like, I mean, for me, it's more so of, like, oh, I'm taking note of maybe what I'm looking for in a partner, but I think back, or even people that have partners, there are, like, nights or, like, weeks and months sometimes that you kind of, like, flux in and out, and you're not really, like, speaking the same language, and it happens. I just think it's interesting on, like, maybe why that is, and why, like, especially as, like, we're getting older, ladies, it's, like, pouncing time. Men, get ready.
Honestly, though, okay, wait. I understand why women are cougars. Yeah. Because if men are reaching their sex drive peak higher, or younger, and women are reaching it older, then no wonder.
Yeah.
Those cougars know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do.
I love that for them.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, the moral is to date a younger person. So, go out and find
Let's not end on that note. We cannot end with, go date a younger person.
You did always say that it was weird that I dated younger, but look at...
I know, damn. Man, I'm switching my teams now. Fuck these older men. Gonna go down. That sounds so bad. I can't say that. Going back up, climbing back up. Fuck. On that note, everybody, no.
On that note, you know where to find us. Polite as Fuck Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, although I haven't really been posting, so sorry about it, but we're over there, and we'll see you next week, and we love you.
We love you guys. Bye.